What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin Bees. I'm a wife, a mom, a military veteran, a certified personal trainer, and I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out, and now I'm using all of my social media platforms to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by their reps. Today is going to be a little bit different of a video because we're diving into the latest concern in the wild world of TikTok influencers. Today's topic is going to be Nurse Hannah, the so-called momfluencer who's making headlines, but not for her parenting tips or nursing knowledge. No, she's making waves for, well, let's just say some questionable choices involving her children, her house, alleged neglect, a $35 jacket for her toddler, and wait for it, 17 dirty diapers. And yeah, you heard that right. Not a typo, not an exaggeration. Let's get into it. Before we do, if you would make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, which feels kind of weird even saying that because of the nature of today's video. But hopefully in doing this video and having this conversation with all of you, it can help to advocate for these kids. Stick through the whole video, and at the end, there's going to be some resources for us to contact as a community in order to hopefully help get these children the help that they need. First, let's meet Nurse Hannah, also known as Hannah B. Hiatt. She's one of those TikTok influencers who built her platform on making content about being a nurse. After taking some heat from people online that were reporting her to the nursing board, she made the switch to the picture-perfect mom life aesthetic. She often shows her kids, their life, their daily activities, and her job as a traveling LPN. But recently, the facade has started to crumble, and the kitchen seems to be getting really hot for Hannah. Behind all the curated content lies a much messier reality, literally and figuratively. And this just isn't about a messy house or 17 diapers or alleged neglect or even a $35 jacket for her son. This is about the health and safety of her kids. And as a parent, I am beyond concerned, which is why we're here today. Okay, let's talk about the elephant, or should I say, the diaper pile in the room. According to recent claims, Nurse Hannah left 17 used diapers scattered around her house after a day of single parenting. As a mom, I know how difficult postpartum really is, especially with multiple children. Two things can be true at one time. I can be sympathetic to Hannah as a mom of two little ones and also point out things that don't seem right to me and downright dangerous in my opinion. This video went pretty viral for her, and other moms started to share their 17 diaper stories. She has since turned her brand online to be the quote-unquote 17 diaper mom, and many companies have sent her things, including a diaper genie, and she has been a guest on talk shows because of these videos. Look, I get it. Parenting is hard, but leaving that many dirty diapers lying around isn't just gross, it's absolutely dangerous. She said it herself in this video that we're about to watch, that her house smelled because of it. Babies are highly susceptible to bacteria, and creating a breeding ground for germs is the last thing any parent or nurse should allow. Don't take my word for it though. Let's hear from another medical professional.
I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that. Do you know how expensive diapers are?
As someone who works in healthcare and specifically a burn unit, I just went down the whole Nurse Hannah rabbit hole. I think if someone who is a nurse is doing that, leaving their kid in a saturated diaper of urine for prolonged periods of time, then I'm sure other people are doing it too. However, she knows the risks, but I don't know if other people do. So I want to take the opportunity to just inform people who maybe didn't know, but prolonged urine exposure, which is an acidic fluid, can lead to something called IAD, which is incontinence-associated dermatitis. And pretty much the ammonia in the urine will break down the skin so much that we sometimes have to treat it as a burn. Like, the kids can be at a greater risk for diaper rash. They can be at a greater risk for UTIs. So it's really not healthy to do it. In her defense, it was a financial thing, and maybe other people are doing that. However, I just feel like you should know the risks of doing that. Although, yes, it's financially beneficial, it can actually expose your baby to very real health concerns. Hannah knows that. But other people don't. Sometimes these things are good learning opportunities because people genuinely didn't know. And I know that other people are like, how can you not know? But you'd be surprised. Working in healthcare, you kind of see people from all walks of life and truly realize that people aren't intentionally being neglectful, even though it is neglect. It's always a good learning opportunity. However, that's not my opinion on her. She knows, sorry, I'm like waving this around, but, and also that neglect is a form of abuse. Not buying a winter jacket for a small child when it's 18 degrees outside, that can lead to hypothermia and it can also lead to death. Like, I just think that people maybe don't realize that these small decisions can ultimately lead to the death of their children. I don't even know. This girl has left me speechless. It's really disappointing. It's very disappointing.
But the diaper debacle isn't even the worst part. People are now raising alarms about alleged neglect in her home, claiming her behavior goes far beyond having a bad day or an untidy house. We're talking about situations that could, and in my opinion, are putting her kids at risk. And here's the kicker. She's a nurse. So she knows the risk involved. Someone trained to understand the importance of health and hygiene, you would think would understand the gravity of what she's doing and saying online about her children. She should definitely understand how to handle a newborn and how fragile their little necks are. Giving a baby a jalapeno seems to me to be flat out cruel. Who even does that? Why would somebody do that? And why would you film that and put it online? It makes me sick to my stomach thinking about it.
I mean, I have a million of these, but not least for this video, I'm not changing my kid's diaper when they pee. I've never done that. Do you know how expensive diapers are? I have friends and people that I know that like, oh, they peed, we have to change their diaper. And I'm like, they peed? Literally, I will change his diaper if he poops. Or if it's like a very full diaper.
In this next video that went pretty viral, she was heading to Walmart with her kids to buy her toddler a winter coat. She states that it's 22 degrees out, but it feels more like 8 degrees. And she even goes as far as showing a water bottle freezing in her car because of how cold it is. Once she gets in the store, she realizes a coat is $35 and decides that's too expensive. So they leave, allegedly, without a winter coat for her toddler, who is in nothing more than a hoodie while the baby is in the shopping cart.
Sorry, but I can't spend $35 on a toddler jacket. I know he needs one, obviously. I'm not just gonna say, like, don't take his blanket, please. That's brother's blanket. Don't take it. It's cold. I know I can't just be like, oh, like, it's too expensive. He doesn't need to have a jacket. He needs a jacket. Especially if it's 8 degrees outside.
I just wonder what the baby had on him as a newborn, as an infant. I get it completely. Times are really hard for so many people, and $35 is a lot of money for a lot of people. For me, as a mom, I would go without before my kids ever would. I would give them the jacket, the shirt, or whatever I had to make sure they were warm in this scenario. I would at least have some blankets to wrap them up if there was nothing else available. That's not me mom shaming. That's called accountability for an unsafe situation that she chose to put her toddler and her infant in. The ironic part about all of this is that in one of her other TikToks soon after this video, she's mad that her husband spent $1,500 on hunting equipment. Let's watch it together.
You guys know how my husband spent $1,500 on hunting supplies? Well, yeah, because it didn't stop there, because there were several $100s afterwards to actually process the elk. So today we're finally putting that money to good use and we're making elk steak nachos.
Oh, but $35 is too much to ensure that your child is safe and warm from the elements. According to her YouTube video that I'm going to show here in a second, she was talking about her donations to the church. She was allegedly, or is, making $6,000 a week. $6,000 a week. That sounds like plenty of money to be able to afford necessities that your children need to be taken care of, including jackets and diapers. Let's watch the video together.
Yesterday was payday, so you guys know what that means. It's time to budget my weekly paycheck as a nurse. I work about 5 to 6 shifts a month, and this paycheck came out to $2,780. My husband's bi-weekly paycheck came out to $3,210, equaling a total of $5,990. You guys know the drill. Before I pay any bills or spend any money, I always pay 10% in tithing back to the church. I'm gonna round up this week to $600 even. Lately, I have been contemplating doing 5% to the church and 5% towards something else. Obviously, giving to a charity, giving to the homeless or something like that. I just haven't decided yet. We'll see. That's for another day. Luckily, our mortgage and our car bill has already been paid for this month. month, so I don't have to worry about it this week. Gas is so freaking cheap lately, so I filled up my car for literally $33. Gas is literally under $3 a gallon. It's crazy. Our food and grocery bill came out to $157, which is kind of a lot for us. Lately, I've just been so bad with grocery shopping, and so I've been going to the store like every night for dinner stuff, and that's adding up quite fast. I have a little date night this week, which was $65 to a restaurant, and went to a little activity thing, and it was so fun. Honestly, don't get to do date nights without the kids very often, so we kind of went a little crazy with it. Christmas is coming up, which gets pretty pricey, so I'm putting $600 towards that for savings. Someone asked if we pay our major bills and stuff with our credit card, and yes, we usually do. Most bills we have do get to come out of our credit card, which is good because we do get cash back on that. The credit card bill has been pretty high lately, so I'm gonna pay that off, which is $1,500. It takes it down to almost $0, which is really good. That I'm left over with $3,035, which honestly is way more than I ever have in my account or like to keep in my account. Typically, we don't leave any money in our checking account because then we are tempted to spend it. So with that, we are putting an extra $2,500 towards paying off our house. After all of that, we are left over with $535, which honestly is a lot more than we usually have in the account. It probably won't stay there, but it'll stay there for now. I'll let my husband decide where that money goes.
How is it that you can save $600, pay an extra $2,500 for your mortgage? That's extra on top of the mortgage payment, pay $600 to the church and everything she just mentioned on that video, but you can't pay $35 for a winter coat for your toddler or diapers for your infant? Make that make sense. Do these people forget what they post online? Because I feel like that's the only way that I can possibly make sense of any of this. This honestly makes me want to rage, and I'm sure many of you feel the same way. If you're looking for winter coats for your kids, for your family, you can go to onewarmcoat.org and search in your area to see what resources are available to you. If you're watching this and you have some other ideas that you want to share with everyone, I'll pin a comment so that you can share where people can find coats and other resources for themselves and or their children. Thank you guys in advance for that. Hannah is also being called out for what looks like not feeding her toddler when they order food or they're out having a meal at a restaurant. Content warning, this is really hard to watch as a parent and a human because in my opinion, you can see that he's so hungry but doesn't dare to reach for anything. You can literally see the fear in this baby's eyes. I say baby, he's a toddler, but he's a baby. You know what I mean? I also want to point out that often there is no plate in front of him. When he does reach out, he is often flicked or swatted away. So please prepare yourself for this video in particular.
First stop were $9 lobster rolls. Technically, we got a lobster roll, a fried shrimp roll, and a fried... I can't do that. Now, the next way that we save a lot of money while we eat out is we don't order drink. We don't drink alcohol. We're not ordering sodas. We literally, when they come to get our drink order, we are only 100% of the time. If we have leftovers, we are bringing it home. I see so many people stand up from their table and leave half of their food there, and then it just gets thrown away. If I'm paying for that food, it's coming home with me if I didn't eat it. So anyways, that's how you eat cheap on vacation. Always making sure your hotel has a breakfast. Always doing research on restaurants before you actually get there on prices. Not blowing a ton of money on drinks and appetizers. And
another allegation is the physical handling of her newborn, her infant, and the mysterious bruising that can be seen on her toddler at times.
So we ordered it toasted and it did not come toasted. We did like an order, like a mobile pickup thing. That's how you got the deal, was doing it online. These were like soggy tuna fish, spicy sandwiches, and I was just not vibing with it. That's why every woman knows how to eat while holding a baby, but the second you give that baby to the husband, to the male, they're like, I'm eating, I can't hold the baby. Me too. Like, I just know how to hold the baby and eat. Like, it's a thing. I promise you, every woman knows that. The second you start to eat yourself, that's when the baby cries. 100%, 10 times over, that's just how the babies just know it. They just know it. Anyways, over, that's just how the babies just know it. They just know it. But anyways.
My concern is obviously all of this, but I'm also really fearful of how the dad interacts with specifically the toddler. In this clip, you can see that they are at what appears to be a grocery store and the toddler is being handed something. The toddler goes into full defense mode and flinches. The internet has many parents that are seeing if their kids flinch in the same manner, and they typically don't from the videos that I have seen. Here are some that you can see and judge for yourself.
You, Adam. Love you, Mommy. Can I kiss? What? Who ya? Oh.
You would think that new diapers and a winter coat would be more cost effective than an ER trip because your child has had some sort of a health crisis. How does somebody who should know better end up here? Why doesn't her toddler have a plate in front of him when they're out to dinner? Is it the pressure to maintain her influencer image? Is it the control from her husband? The obsession with curating the perfect feed? Is she trying to portray a lifestyle that she can't fund? Is it something deeper? Is it manipulation from the Mormon church? Nothing against Mormons. Or is it even something more sinister than all of those scenarios? I don't know, but it makes me really uncomfortable and scared for her children. Those babies deserve to be taken care of and loved by their parents. And in my opinion, all I see from them is mistreatment. The situation with Nurse Hannah brings up a bigger issue with momfluencers in general. These creators profit off their curated, perfect parenting personas. But what happens when the cameras are off? Are their kids safe? Or are they just props for content to be monetized through their exploitation and brought out when they're needed? I'd like to also bring up the fact that these children don't have the ability to consent to being a prop on the internet for their parents, and these videos will follow them throughout their lives. With Hannah's content, these are the videos that she thinks are great. I want to make this really clear. I'm sure you guys already are noticing this or have thought about this. I wonder what her thought process was as she was recording. Then she was editing the video and then decided, you know what, this is a great one. I'm going to post this. What was she thinking? The internet seems to be utterly shocked with good reason, and it makes me really uncomfortable to think about what's happening behind the scenes. Influencers are only showing us the highlights from their lives, and the fact that Hannah thinks these are highlights, these are the good things, makes me really nervous for those kids and what a bad day actually looks like for them. Here's the thing. No one is expecting parents to be perfect. Being a parent is the hardest job out there. But when you're making money by sharing your family life online, there's an added responsibility to ensure that your kids aren't living in unsafe or unhealthy conditions. That's the bare minimum, in my opinion, when it comes to being a parent. And I am a mom of two. These kids didn't sign up for this, and they definitely don't deserve to be the cash cow that they seem to be for their parents. They definitely do not deserve to be handled and treated the way that they seemingly are being treated. The internet, as usual, has not held back. People are outraged, and honestly, who can blame them? Parenting is hard, but there's a big difference between struggling and straight up negligence or abuse. She has recently turned her comments off on TikTok, so people have taken to her YouTube account that she just created in October to call her out. While I don't necessarily agree with many of the comments, I do understand that she needs to be held accountable for her treatment of her children that has been posted on videos, and those videos are public. Reporting to the authorities is the best thing that I believe can be done in this scenario in order to advocate for her children, and that will be in the video description, and also there's going to be some resources at the end of this video as well. Of course, there's always a handful of people that say, oh, she's just overwhelmed, or don't judge, parenting is tough. But leaving 17 diapers lying around, having your children out in 22-degree weather that actually feels like 8 degrees without proper clothing because you didn't want to spend $35 for a winter coat isn't a tough parenting moment. It's a health crisis waiting to happen. In my opinion, it's terrifying to see, and we need to do something about it. When you look at all the videos, there seems to be a clear pattern leading down an all too familiar road. Hannah is being compared to Ruby Frankie and laughing about it. There is nothing funny about children being mistreated in either of these situations. If I, as a mother, was questioned about my treatment of our children, I would address it. I wouldn't think it was funny. Like Hannah has said here, I would take it very seriously.
So the fact that I even have to address this right now is kind of insane. Social media is just, it's a scary place. And I never understood people that much when they said they couldn't share their kids' faces online or they couldn't share much about their kids. I didn't really understand it, but it's crazy. If you were to know me in real life, this whole lazy husband thing, it's satire. My husband is the sweetest, nicest, kindest, most loving, most nurturing father in the entire world. He is playing on the ground with James like 90% of the day. If that man is not laughing, having fun, teasing him, playing with him, whatever it is, then I don't know, then something's wrong, because those two have the strongest bond the strongest father-son bond that I know of anyone else. And it makes me really sad that social media has turned it into something, or maybe it's, I don't know, maybe that's, it makes me sad that I guess I've turned it into something like that. I don't know. In the video that you guys are all freaking out about, they're just playing. They're always playing. They're always playing where they scare each other. James is obsessed with dinosaurs and bears, and when they look away and they come back and they scare each other, and they play, like when they throw something, they'll play throw it, you know, where you like psych them out, you know, and they flinch and whatever. Like that's what they're always doing. They're always like hiding behind couches and jumping at each other and chasing each other around the house and up the stairs and down the stairs and tackling each other. They're always playing constantly, to the point where like if I'm trying to talk to my husband, I can't, because he's always playing with my son. Nothing's going on. From the moment that my husband wakes up in the morning to the second he goes to bed, he is only thinking about our children and our family and what's best for us. And that's never not on his mind. He is constantly thinking about his children, their futures, what it's like now, how to be the best father. You can't believe everything you see on social media. You just can't. I promise, and when I promise this, I'm serious. Nothing is going on. You know, I don't really owe anyone an explanation. I could just be like everybody else, and when stuff like this happens, I could just keep quiet. And I thought about keeping quiet, just kind of letting it blow over. But I thought, I don't want that. I don't even want the thought of that out there. I don't want anyone to suspect anything, that even to be questioned whatsoever, that me or my husband, that we do not love our children, that we do not treat them with anything other than love. Like, it's crazy. There's nothing going on.
I find it interesting that the majority of her videos are voiceovers. This is something that I wanted to bring up because I find it odd. If you're a family vlogger and you're showing your life, I understand that it's probably chaotic, but with the majority of her videos being voiceovers, I just wonder what's being said in the original video. I think if she posted those, it would probably be shocking to all of us that are watching. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? And Hannah, if you see this, I hope you start posting videos with the original sound. Prove me wrong. I would love nothing more than to be wrong in this scenario. If you have nothing to hide, then let's see them. Hannah calls herself Nurse Hannah online, and I started to wonder where she got her credentials like many other people online. Hannah has spoken about being reported to the nursing board, removing her last name because of it, to avoid, or just to make it more difficult for people to find her full legal name. She seems to have added it back since the last time that I checked. Everything that I'm going to be sharing in this segment is a matter of public record and can be found online within a matter of minutes. This is her LPN license number shown here. Normally, you would also be able to see where she went to college and got her certificate or degree. With Hannah, it just shows that she went to an Albuquerque public school. There's no documentation for her post-secondary schooling, so it sounds like she went to some kind of a technical school where she earned the credits to work in the field. I just wasn't able to find that information for myself. According to Jordan and McKay's YouTube channel, linked in the video description, they state that that was the case and that she attended some college but later decided it wasn't for her.
So I don't know where, I don't think I went back, she has a YouTube channel now and she did a little like freeform
She started that
AMA.
like the end of October.
Yeah. And in that video, she describes that she, from basically a very young age, I think she said at 3, they lived in Albuquerque, and she went all the way through high school, went off to college for a little bit. But while she was in high school, she was also doing a tandem program to get nursing certification. Because I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good thing to do if you want a career in nursing, if that's something that interests you. After doing that, she went to college for a little bit, decided that wasn't for her.
I think it's important to highlight what is within the scope of practice as an LPN or an LVN, known as a licensed practical nurse or a licensed vocational nurse, and an RN or a registered nurse, just for clarity in this video. This is a graphic that you can find on allnursingschools.com. I think it's fantastic in how it describes each of the scopes of practice for an LPN and an RN. So on the left, you see the LPN and LVN, and the first one is the education. LPNs or LVNs must complete an approved diploma or certificate program, typically lasting 1 to 2 years. Their job duties include often reporting to RNs. They focus on providing basic medical care, like taking vital signals and helping dress or bathe patients. Their license includes having to pass the NCLEX PN exam in order to get licensed, and their salary, given the difference in their education and job scope, LPNs and LVNs usually make less than an RN. On the right side of the graphic, you'll see all of these same things for an RN. An RN needs at least an associate degree in nursing or a bachelor's of science in nursing. Their job duties, they can assist with and perform more advanced medical duties like administering medication and other treatments. Their license, after their education, nursing graduates must take and pass the NCLEX RN exam to qualify for licensure. Due to their more extensive educational background and increased responsibilities, RNs tend to have notably higher wages. I wanted to go through this graphic on this video because there is a vast difference in the responsibilities in these career fields. And going back to Nurse Hannah presenting herself on social media, as Nurse Hannah, it leaves too many situations with content that people would assume she's an RN. A rare video where she's mentioning that she's an LPN still feels a bit deceptive to me. Why not add that to your handle to be clear? Maybe that's not something she thought about when she made her account. Maybe she's done it and I just don't know about it, but it's definitely something that I feel like should be changed now, especially with the following that she has. That's just my opinion though. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. I also would like to say that both of these careers are extremely important. This is not to say that one or more of these occupations is more important than the other. They work together. They work hand in hand, and they're an important field in the medical community. So shout out to all the people in the medical field. I see you, and I definitely appreciate everything that you do and have to deal with on a daily basis. People might find profiles like Hannah's and believe what she is saying, and it might be out of their scope of practice. This can be dangerous for so many reasons. Scope of practice is something I take very seriously, and these guidelines are there for a reason. They keep people safe. This also plays into the conversation about influencers being ethical in their content and its delivery online. This feels to me like lying by omission on her part. If you have the credentials, you should be proud of them. You should be showcasing them. You earned it, and you absolutely should be clear about it when it comes to your audience because their safety depends on it. I feel like all of us have seen influencers online that want to cosplay like they have certain credentials. They'll use titles that are very generic. My concern is that some of their followers may not know to look and or ask for these people's credentials before taking their advice. There's a reason that there are so many different types of doctors and why they have specific initials behind their name that's backed by specific education so that they can work in that field. So if you see things like this online, ask yourself what their credentials are. See if you can find their credentials. It should be easily available for you to have so that you can check out who you're trying to take advice from. Ask them what their credentials are if you can't find it, because anyone that has those credentials and earned them is gladly going to share them with you. If they get a little weird about it, consider that a red flag. You wouldn't go to a cardiologist for problems with your endocrine system, and you absolutely should not be taking advice from somebody that calls themselves Dr. So-and-so online without disclosing the kind of doctor they are. A lot of times what we see in multi-level marketing is they will showcase a doctor, and you really have to dig to find what kind of a doctor they are. And it turns out that they're a chiropractor or something, and they're giving advice on supplements. I know this video is not about multi-level marketing, but that is definitely something that we see. And also, nothing against chiropractors, but let's make sure that we're all staying within our scope of practice. Nurse Hannah should clarify this for her audience when and if people are coming across her account. So, What can we take away from all of this? First, let's remember that social media influencers only show us what they want us to see. For every picture perfect TikTok, there's an untold story behind the scenes, and sometimes it's not pretty. That part is what scares me the most about Hannah and her family and what she is posting online. These are the highlights. These are supposed to represent the good times. These are the things that she wants us all to see. What happens when that camera is turned off? Can you imagine if we were able to hear the original audios and not her voiceovers? I know that I've mentioned that several times in this video, but it needs to be said, and it makes me really uncomfortable thinking about that she's posting these things thinking, oh, this is great. This is what should be out there. Many of us are absolutely shocked by what we're seeing. Second, let's hold influencers accountable. If you're profiting off of your parenting journey, you need to make sure that you're actually parenting and not just performing for an audience. I wonder if these parents are also putting money aside for their kids and their performance, or if they're keeping it to themselves. Hannah's performance is extremely alarming for all the reasons I mentioned in this video. I wonder what's happening behind the scenes. I think we all are wondering that. I wonder if her toddler has a winter coat by now. I wonder if he's eating regularly. How is the infant doing? I just have so many questions, many of which I'm sure I'll never get answers to, like many of you guys. And finally, let's put the well-being of children above TikTok likes, follows, and a monetized social media platform. Kids deserve safe, loving environments, not one where their basic needs are neglected in favor of maintaining an influencer brand. As you can tell, I'm not a fan of family vlogs at all. Not everything needs to be shown online, especially when we're talking about children. So, what do you guys think? Are we being too harsh, or does Nurse Hannah's behavior cross the line? Let me know in the comments, because trust me, I want to hear your take on this. Thank you for being here. Thanks for watching all the way through. And remember, accountability isn't just for influencers, it's for all of us. If you see something, say something.